Hey guys, it's Max. Today we're going to be comparing the brand new Ronin SC to one of my favorite gimbals, the Crane 2. When the Ronin S launched, most people loved it, but they had the same feedback that it was too heavy for single-handed use, especially when you put on, a decent sized body and a lens on it. So DJI fixed that problem, made some other improvements with the SC. To be completely honest with you guys, I actually was a bit underwhelmed, and it seemed like a lot of the other reviewers were as well. Maybe they just didn't want to mention it because DJI sent them out. The gimbal, this one I purchased myself. So I kind of looked at the specs and I thought, that looks very similar to my Crane 2 as far as weight, but the capacity for the camera is actually quite a bit smaller, so it's kind of limiting. That's why I wanted to do this shootout. Let's go ahead and compare them. Now, one thing that I love about the Crane 2 is the Manfrotto Plate, meaning I can just take my camera off of my tripod, my monopod, slip it on here and be ready to go, and vice versa. Whereas with the new Ronin SC, because they wanted to lower that weight, they made everything smaller, including this little plate right here. They also made a couple other changes. So there's actually this little movable locking nut here that is awesome. So if you're using the same lens and camera, you can preset it and actually just slip it in and get the perfect position. And then this axis right here, you no longer adjust it here, you actually do it on this arm. I'm using one of my favorite combos here, the A7 III with a 28-75 camera, and I know a lot of people are using this. And one thing that I love that they added to this gimbal are the axis locks. So I can just focus on getting this one balanced. There you go, we are balanced, and unfortunately, even though I balanced it at about 40 millimeters instead of the typical 50, that gives me a good middle ground between 28 to 75, I still am hitting that rear little eyepiece cover. Let me see if I can take this thing off, if that will help. Okay, now we're clearing it. I think if I balance it at 50, we might actually be touching or very close. So I think this is going to be the biggest downside with the Ronin SC that you do not have with the Crane 3. With this bad boy, I can even balance a C200 on it. All right, let's turn the sucker on. It's flashing, but it's not working. I guess I actually have to activate it first. I'm going to go ahead and connect to that. No, I don't want to buy your replacement plan. That is one thing that I love about the Crane gimbals. Compared to most other brands, you can grab this out of the box and it just works. You don't have to go in and tweak the settings. You can, but out of the box, you get really smooth results. And we even have a built-in display, so I don't have to pull my phone app out if I actually have to, switch the power settings if I have a heavier camera or tweak some things. Now, that setup was a bit of a pain, but honestly, this is really good for people who are just getting a new gimbal, to teach them the tutorials, how to balance it, and to run this test. So finally, we're ready to go. I'm in mode 1 now. Let's check it out. And we are just really lagging behind here. Let's flip over to mode 2. And this part, I can pan, but I can't do any tilt. And mode 3. Okay, this is a little too fast. So I guess I'll have to go in the settings and make a custom mode. Out of the box, like I said, I like the Crane mode. It's right in between mode 1 and mode 2. But this guy, way too quick. So I'm gonna do that and then we'll get some shots. So there you have it, my first footage with the Ronin SC, and personally, I was a little bit underwhelmed. Throughout those clips, I kept going back into the app maybe 5-6 times, tweaking the settings, trying to get it, to work perfectly for my shooting style. And even still, I felt like there was a little bit of a jitter. I don't know, you guys let me know what you guys thought. Now, finally, let's go ahead and grab the Crane 2 and compare them side to side, head to head. This one is using the settings out of the box, not tweaked at all. Before we move on, I gotta give a big shout out to the sponsor of this video, Audible. Visit audible.com/maxy or text maxy to 500 to start your free 30-day trial and get a free audiobook. Audible is the leader in audiobooks with basically anything that you would want to listen to. I've been paying for Audible for a couple of years now, and it actually changed my life. Like many of you, it's hard for me to find time to be able to read, but being able to listen to audiobooks when I'm commuting, while I'm doing chores around the house, and even while working is amazing. I would highly recommend for everybody to listen to books like Gary Vee's Crush It, Why Now is the Time to Cash In on Your Passion. Listening to that along with other great audiobooks is what finally shifted my mind and allowed me to become a full-time filmmaker, which is one of the best decisions that I ever made.
For a limited time, Prime members can start an Audible membership and save 66% off your first 3 months, a total of $30 off.
Start listening with a 30-day Audible trial, and your first audiobook plus 2 Audible originals are free. Visit audible.com/maxy or text maxy to 500. There you guys have it, a side-by-side comparison between the Ronin SC and the Crane 2. I want to hear you guys' opinions. Let me know which one looked smoother. Once again, the Crane 2 had no adjustments whatsoever. I think it could have helped to have a little bit of a deadpan adjustment especially for like the running shots. Whereas this guy, I spent probably about 20 minutes tweaking it. I feel like I can get it a little bit better if I fine-tune it a little bit more. But overall, I have to say that I am very impressed with the Ronin SC. When I pull this thing out of the box, just getting, my hands around it and feeling how it's built, it feels really, really good on another level compared to the Crane 2, which is also good. It's all metal, but I love this grip. I love the way it's shaped, and it fits my hand perfectly compared to the Ronin S, which was a little bit too big even for my large hands. And if you have small or medium hands, that was probably crazy for you guys. A few things that really stood out to me about the Ronin SC. First off, right when I got it out of the box, it just feels really nice. Both the build quality, the materials that are used, along with just the feel in the hand. I love that they made the grip smaller. The Ronin S was too large. Even for my large hands, it was too big. This fits perfectly. I also love that we have these locks now. It makes it much easier to balance. And I also really like that the grip is detached just like the Ronin S. This is so handy if you want to pack it down, make it small, and put it in a backpack, in your suitcase, your messenger bag, whatever. You cannot do that with the Crane 2. That thing is quite a bit larger. They actually made some changes to the case. Not only is it really small, very thin, much smaller than the Ronin S's, with the Crane 2 and pretty much every other gimbal, once I actually set up the gimbal, I never used the box they came with because you could not do this. Because of the way DJI changed the adjustment, and now we're moving this portion, and the extra room that they gave, even if you adjust it for your camera, you can still fit it in the box, meaning we can actually make use of this nice and slim case to move our gimbal around. Enough with the positives, now let's get to the negatives. And there are some major ones that can completely stop you from buying the Ronin SC. This is rated for close to 5 pounds. This one is rated at 7 pounds. But that payload doesn't really matter because with the Ronin SC, there is not enough clearance right over here. The 28 to 70 75 Tamron lens, which is fairly lightweight, can barely be balanced with the Ronin SC. And if you want to balance it at 70 millimeters, you're maxing this thing out. And even then, you have to remove your eye cup and you might still be touching at the back here. So I really wish they just extended this arm by a ½ inch or so, maybe an inch, but even a ½ inch would make a big difference. And now, instead of the weight of the Ronin S being kind of the downside, with the SC, it's the fact that you can't balance heavier lenses, even with small bodies. Now, the Crane 2, that is not an issue whatsoever. And like I showed you guys at the start, I even balance a C200 on here with like a Canon 50 1.2 lens, and I could shoot with that, you know, pretty much all day. It can handle the weight. Say you want to shoot with a Canon or a Sony 24-70 f2.8 or like an 85 1.4 prime lens, or even a Fuji X-T3 with their 16-55 2.8, you will not be able to do so with this gimbal. And that's the biggest limitation. For people who are starting out or people that are using prime lenses, it is really nice. I like the size. I like how it could be very compact. You could throw it into any bag. But as you're going along, as you're upgrading your lenses and you want to use some of that higher end, nicer glass, this will hold you back. So that is the biggest differentiating part, I think, between these two. I don't really care as much about, you know, the batteries, or say the fact that this doesn't block the screen. When you're holding this Crane 2 off to side just slightly, you can see the full screen just fine. It's going to be that payload. So if you can only have one gimbal, personally, I would suggest go for the Crane 2. You can get it for less price if you want the focusing motor, and you can throw anything you want on there and it will handle it. Whereas this guy, if you need it to be compact, if you need it to break down, if you're using lighter cameras and lenses, I would say go for the Ronin SC. Let me know if you guys have any questions down in the comment section below. I'm going to be testing this out, using it at a few weddings, and I will be doing a long-term review. So if you guys want to see that, make sure you guys are subscribed. Once again, a big shout out to Audible for sponsoring this video. Take advantage of that offer and go sign up, and it helps, they support this channel, helps me be able to make more videos like this one. This has been Max, and I will see you guys in the next video.